Leave it open. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balava Dirivanadari Gopijana Balava Dirivanadari Jasora Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasora Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuniti Ravanatari Jamunati Ravanatari Tiravanant Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Dirivanadari Jasoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamunati Ravanatari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom! Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramansa Priya Vijakacharya Sachit Shishim Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT founder Charya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananda Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Nam Charya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gita Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadip Dham Ki. Jagannath-pur Dham Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Samveda Bhakti Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sisi Radha Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki. Gopremanande. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to divine lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sadamo Bhagate Dhammaganari Bisaha Kalanasa Dashamesha Parano Kodalodita Narayana Namaskritchanaram Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. The Bhagavatam was his apprentice's son. It is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of this age of Kali shall get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of concourse, we should first offer respects to the personality of God in Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of living Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, and my spiritual master Srila. Is this too loud? What do you think, Dravida Prabhu? All right. Well, we're going to do two things today. And to expedite that, I'm going to read, because this chapter is called The Glories of Anantadeva, and I was thinking about this last night. So we're going to read, because Balaram did the first verse, we're going to do the second verse. This is 5th canto, chapter 25, text 2. So 525-2. And Dravida Prabhu, do you want to go with the Sanskrit or should just read the English? Because it's script. Or what? Second verse, chapter 25.
All righty. Yasyedam chitimandalam bhagavato nantamote sahasra shirasa ekasmin eva shirsani driyamanam siddhartha iva lakshite.
Thank you. The translation. Sukadeva Goswami continued. This great universe, situated on one of Anantadeva's thousands of hoods, appears just like a white mustard seed. It is infinitesimal compared to the hood of Lord Anantadeva, and that's just one of the hoods. So I'll say you say. Sukadeva Goswami continued. This great universe, situated on one of Lord Anantadeva's thousands of hoods, appears just like a white mustard seed. It is infinitesimal compared to the hood of Lord Ananta. So this verse doesn't have a purport, but as part of the intro to the chapter, I thought I would say a little something. So we are presenting that all the universes, each universe is resting on the head of Seshanaga, a 1,000-hooded, inconceivably immense expansion of Balaram, who's an expansion of Krishna. What? That's a lot to swallow. So well, I'll get there in a moment. That Lord Balaram, in the form of Seshanaga, Prabhupada describes in the Bhagavatam that is gravity. Gravity is actually coming from Lord Balaram. Not gravity in the sense of being sober, but gravity is supporting the universes. So again, we've got to you've got to compare and contrast. You've got to balance. We've got to ask why. Prabhupada said that doubt is the next door neighbor of the intelligence. So doubt is not a bad thing. I'll give you an example of Sariputta. Sariputta Prabhu, one of the heroes of the Krishna consciousness movement. When he approached the 5th canto, he never approached the 5th canto, is it true? He always approached it, it's in the Bhagavatam, it's true. Now, how is it true? How to understand it? He accepted it on the premise. It wasn't, well, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. It is true. Now let me try to understand it. Let me unpack it. Let me, And in that capacity, the intelligence, well, how does that work? How does it, well, that doesn't make sense. That's so, the difference between speculation is just your own mental concoction. But thoughtful, intelligent, and consideration, that is within the parameters of Shastra. As long as we're in the parameters of Shastra, sadhu, Guru, Shastra, sadhu. As long as we're in the parameters of Guru, Shastra, sadhu, then there's exercise intelligence, have a doubt, inquire. Krishna was ready to explain the whole Bhagavad Gita again to Arjuna. Have you understood it with your intelligence? But it has to have that within the parameters, within the four, well, I guess we could say the triangle of Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. So let's think about this for a minute. Because I thought, okay, we're going to make our case. But let's hear a little bit about their case, the materialist, the reductionist, it's all laws of physics, there's no lawmaker. Let's look at that for a moment. So I had a little fun last night. I looked up, because there's the 4 forces. It's gravity, electromagnetic force, weak force, and strong force. And that's what's making the whole thing operate. That's their basic premise, because they got a lot of issues with that. But let's just look at that for a moment. Okay, gravity is one of the 4 basic forces that holds this thing together. Otherwise it'd implode or it'd spin out and, okay, gravity. So I said, okay, well, the old ask why 5 times. What is gravity? Doesn't that seem like a reasonable question? So I looked it up in Oxford, unabridged. I did a Google search. I read Wikipedia. What is gravity? I'll give you a short version. Mass has gravity. Anything that's mass, any object, any mass, any big, small, it has gravity. All right. And they're hoping to stop there. Well, ask why 5 times. Well, okay. Why does mass have gravity? Doesn't that seem like a reasonable question? Why? Okay. So here's what they say. That's because it has the presence of gravitons. Stop there. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Just stop there. So what's the next reasonable? What's gravity? What is it? Well, it's caused by mass. Okay. Well, why does mass have gravity? Well, because there's presence of gravitons. What's the next reasonable question? Well, what's a graviton? Help me out, Mr. Science. So, and then the reasonable, Oh, okay, and any proof of a graviton? Anyone ever seen a graviton? Can you prove to me that the existence of gravity? Because you're saying that mass has gravity. Gravity is one of the main forces that holds everything together. It's caused by gravitons. Hey, anybody ever seen a graviton? I swear to you, this is from Oxford. This is the answer. Unambiguous detection of individual gravitons, though not prohibited by any fundamental law, is impossible with any physical, reasonable detector. Just put enough words in there and just stretch it out. What are they actually saying? Listen, I've asked them, has anyone ever proven a graviton? Can you show me the existence of a graviton? Can you, show me? I'm ready to believe. The answer we get, unambiguous detection of individual gravitons, which means confirmed for a fact, though not prohibited by any fundamental law. It could be there. I mean, there could be, green swans. I mean, there could be all kinds of things. It's possible, right? Okay. But then they add, is impossible with any physical, reasonable detector. That's from Oxford's. Then it says, most theories containing gravitons suffer from severe problems. That's buried after about 4 pages. 4 pages of, you got to have a triple PhD to understand what's up. But the bottom line, what does it say? The closing thing, most theories containing gravitons suffer from severe problems. It's a long way of saying, we don't know. And no, we have no proof of it. It's a nice theory. It kind of fits in the coin, okay. It gives an explanation, but there's absolutely no proof of it. And they're selling us this stuff. So, let's ask another one. What's electromagnetics? It's one of the other 4 forces. What is it? I remember asking, this is when I turned off on science. I asked my professor, what causes electricity? Seems like a reasonable question, right? It's one of the main 4 forces, it's all electromagnetism. All right, so here you go. Once again, the physical property, this is the answer from Oxford, the physical property of matter that causes matter to experience force when placed in an electromagnetic field. Sounds good. Sounds like you got an answer there. But it's like cotton candy. You add water, what's really there? What's actually there? The physical property of matter that causes matter to experience force when placed in an electromagnetic field. Okay, well, what causes electromagnetic field? That's the next reasonable. Okay, you put matter in an electromagnetic field and you get electricity. Okay, well, what's an electromagnetic field? Well, electromagnetic field is caused by electrons. It's this a similar word, electron, electricity, electromagnetic. Okay, maybe they've explained it. What's the next question to ask? What's an electron? You'll love this. An inherent state, a quality of matter. You know what that means? It just is. It's called circular logic. Yeah, they've explained the initial question, what's electricity? They've gone all the way around and say, well, electricity is electricity. That's what they've said. So when you say it's an inherent state, a quality of matter, when a kid keeps asking you why, and you say, hey, it just is. It just is, okay? Just is. Why? Because I told you so. Anybody who's got kids knows that sometimes you just tell the kid, hey, look, after 4 times, if you're in a hurry, you've been around 4 or 5 times, you say, hey, look, it just is. Why? Because I said so. Is that a good answer? When you were a kid and somebody said, I just said so. Why? Because I said so. Anybody happy with that answer? Anyone walk away, any kid walk away thinking, oh, okay, well, now I understand. I understand that you're bigger than me, and I understand that you can make me do whatever you want. I understand that I can't really argue with you, but my intellect is certainly not satisfied by, well, it is because it is, and because I said so. But that's what they're telling us. So I want to go a little further. Well, because I'm thinking about time. Let's just say this. Why? What is electricity? Electricity is electricity. What is gravity? Gravity is gravity. And you ask it, and when you try to get them to unpack it, it just goes in a complete circle because they don't actually know what they are. Here's the thing to remember, to walk away with. This is the point I wanted to make. They can describe what's happening. They can describe how it's happening. They're expert. They can manipulate it. I mean, who was it? Ben Franklin out there with a key on earth, electricity can be conducted by a wire. It can be conducted by copper. Okay, I mean, that's an important, lights. I mean, so many things come from that. So, okay, they understand, they can manipulate it. They can explain how it works. They can put it into predictable systems. They can manipulate it. They know how. They know the process. But what don't they know? What, why, I just let out of the bag. What, how, and what's the other thing for understanding a function? Why? But why, why and where? But they don't actually know why. And it's just, and these are their answers. And they want us to swallow this stuff. So when we say Seshanaga, I mean, you can make the whole argument if you want to get into it. Either there's laws or they're lawmakers. I don't want to take too much time. Ultimately, you have to accept design. Anyone has to accept design if they have a brain in their head. And if there's a design, then there's intelligence. And if you take a subset of numbers and take a subset of numbers, you got a big set and you got the subset. Can you have a number in the subset that is not in the original set? Anyone want to deny basic algebra? No, it's impossible. Why does the shadow of the hand have 5 fingers? Why does the shadow have 5 fingers? Don't over there, because the original hand. So the point is, this is the original, this is the subset. We have, either it happened by chance, that's our subset, or it happened by design. And they don't want to accept design because they know exactly where that goes. Design means I'm subordinate. There's a law and there's a lawgiver, and I'm subordinate to that. I'm dependent. Of course, it develops into bhakti. It develops into love. That dependence is not a low self-esteem. It grows into love. It grows into bhakti. It grows into the highest ecstasy. This is the exchange of ras. It's a wonderful thing, most wonderful thing. But they don't want to go down that road. I'd rather be a king in hell than a slave in heaven. But it's not slavery. It's liberation. Okay, so the simple point is, when we're talking in this chapter, it's another aspect of the 5th canto. When it sounds amazing and you're weighing on a pan balance, well, they've got it all nailed down. They've explained that it's 4 forces, it's gravity, it's electromagnetic, it's weak force. We'll have some fun with that someday. Oh, there's dark matter. Why is it called dark matter? It's over 90% of the universe and of creation. And it's what holds if you don't have the right mass, because mass creates gravity, so they say, if you don't have enough mass, there's not gravity, what happens to the whole thing? If it's not, the strong force is like the glue that holds the thing together. And weak force causes, it's a whole story. But if you don't have that strong force, the glue holding the universe together, what happens? Zing! It all spins out into nothing. Nothing would be here. There'd be no form. There's nothing to hold it together. Everything was, So they just kind of stick it in there. We pretty much need it. But they have no definition of what it is. Why? So when we come along and say that, okay, you've got a choice, no explanation whatsoever that makes any sense at all. Or we do expect, your whole principle is you're talking about laws, isn't it? That's what they stuff in your head. How many laws? Who's a scientist here? Aren't you studying science? How many laws do they stuff in your head? Heisenberg's gas law, there's a Planck's law, isn't it? The whole thing is they're stuffing laws into your head. If you didn't have laws, how would you have any kind of... Tell the civil engineer there's no such thing as, there's no gravity, there's no laws, there's no stress, stress and pull. So they can't argue that there's laws. Their whole premise
Their whole presentation is everything rests on laws. And we're unlocking the secrets of nature, and we're creating a better world. That's, what is it? Monsanto? What is it? Better living through chemicals. How's that working out? But the thing is, they can't deny that there's laws. Otherwise, don't open your mouth. Burn all your books. I'm not advocating book burning, but so law, and wherever there's law, order, pattern, symmetry, there's design, and wherever there's design, there has to be intelligence. And as soon as you have intelligence, back to the subset, the big set and the subset, then intelligent means there has to be personality, isn't it? Personality. Personality means inclination. All of a sudden you've got relationships, and to express relationships, you've got to have form. And zing, all the way you go from Shanta Rash, you get all the way, just by simple logic, you go all the way to conjugal love. And you can even say parakia love. You know, it's even sweeter when there's an paramour and your husband may find out it's so much richer and thicker. It's completely logical. And they have a system they can't get off square one. What's gravity? Oh, graviton. Ever seen one? Nah, impossible to prove. Okay, so I got that off my chest. So when we read the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not fantasy or the real, the real farce going on here is what they're shoveling out of us from MIT. That's the farce. That's the illogic, and there's so many examples, and I want to move on to this slideshow. But you've got quantum mechanics and standard physics. One are waves, the other are particles. One's for tiny things, one's for big things. So they use they have a theory and a system of mass that explains big things. Now, when they try to explain little things, when you get down to your molecular level and atomic, they have a whole different system of math. And the two cannot be reconciled. It's like water, it's like oil and water. They're just So, everywhere you actually look, if you stop drinking the Kool-Aid, everywhere you step and look at the thing, they can't get past square one. And the Bhagavatam is what to speak of, the realized souls who have sublime transcendental qualities. And who do you want? Like George Harrison said, I have a choice. He said, I can be with those people, the materialists, or I can be with these people, the devotees. And he said, the devotees have a whole lot better character. So if you got to believe somebody. So who do you want? They can't get past square one, and they're killing their babies in the womb and living on rotten flesh and, full of, the only way they can get through the night is with chemicals. The biggest pharmaceutical product is antidepressants. So, okay, I'm going to go with those people, or I'm going to go with the saintly Vaishnavas who are fearless, full of compassion, keenly intelligent, and present a logical system that can be proved. This is the last thing I'll say. I keep saying it, but it's not like we can't prove it. If you just want to step on the field of academic proof, academic study, you really have to get a PhD. Somebody gave me another meaning of PhD. Anyway, piled higher and deeper, prominent humility disorder, permanent head damage. There's all kinds of, but there was another one I heard, I forgot yesterday. But the point, and we're not deprecating education. We're saying false premises shoveled down our throat. But I wanted to say one last. Anyway, we will end there because we should go with this. And what time is it? Prabhupada also says gravity is Balaram, who's supporting everything, holds all things together. Yeah. So maybe we could take some questions, and we'll do this on another time, because I don't want to, this thing is about, what should we do? I can do this in 20 minutes, but 20 minutes will take us to, what should I do? Should I do it? All right. Okay, we'll go so we need to hit the lights.